Across Africa, the conversation around same-sex relationships ignites fierce debates, cultural divides, and headline-making moments. From fiery speeches to controversial laws, African presidents have not shied away from voicing their stances. In this video, we explore the most notable and dramatic moments of 5 African leaders. In 2014, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni signed the Anti-Homosexuality Act into law, sparking global outrage. In a televised address, Museveni defended the legislation, claiming that homosexuality was unnatural and a threat to traditional Ugandan values. He argued it was a behavior caused by nurture, not nature, and that harsh laws were necessary to protect society. During an interview, President Museveni expressed his personal views, describing homosexuality as disgusting. He emphasized that such acts go against Uganda's cultural and moral fabric. Museveni framed homosexuality as an alien concept to African culture, further justifying his support for the law by linking it to the preservation of national identity.
When it was initially passed, I did not sign the bill initially. Later on, I signed it because of some provocations from outside, because we didn't like lectures which were emanating from certain quarters.
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama, to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go? I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting. But I was ready to ignore that if there was proof. That's how he is born, abnormal. But now the proof is not there.
The Obama administration took targeted actions, saying that human rights were non-negotiable. Military collaborations with Uganda were halted. Millions in funding for law enforcement and public health initiatives were withdrawn and redirected to countries the US deemed to have respect for human dignity, while individuals were barred from entering the United States. However, Museveni was not deterred. By 2023, Uganda enacted even stricter anti-LGBTQ legislation, including provisions for the death penalty and severe penalties for LGBTQ advocacy. In Zimbabwe, too, anti-homosexual laws remain a contentious issue, spotlighted during a gripping conversation between Richard Quest and President Emerson Mnangagwa.
In our current constitution, it is banned.
Are you going to lead a campaign?
No, I will not lead a campaign.
Why not?
Those people who want that are the people who must canvass for such things, so that if they're able to win majority in amending the constitution, they would amend it. But it's not my duty on that issue to say I want to campaign for this. No.
So you keep Zimbabwe in a different age. Never mind same-sex marriage, but in an age when the European Union, the United States, Australia recently enacted same-sex marriage, and pretty much your country is in a very small minority.
I don't think with my priorities today, I would grow my economy, right? Increase the standard of life of my people, putting that as a priority. Our priority now of my government is to embrace the international community and say Zimbabwe is open for business. Let people who want to invest in Zimbabwe say this is what they want, these are the constraints they see, and this is what I believe is necessary for us to grow, to catch up with some of the developing countries in our world.
Surely by changing those, you really send the true message that you're not just interested in money coming in for dollars for business, but creating an equal environment for all. Surely that's a much more powerful message than just asking for a bit of extra foreign direct investment.
It's not a question of having dollars in Zimbabwe. It's a question of development. We must have functional railway systems in my country. We must have functional infrastructure in terms of highways and so on. We must have functional manufacturing sector in the country. I must modernize and mechanize my agriculture in Zimbabwe. I must have a developed mining sector in Zimbabwe. These are the things, as far as I'm concerned, are the issues which my people look at for government to address and facilitate for their development.
President Mnangagwa's response reflects a leader balancing cultural traditions and global expectations. His emphasis on representing Zimbabwean societal values demonstrates his alignment with local sentiments despite international pressure for broader inclusivity. While his position may not resonate with global LGBTQ advocates, it demonstrates the complex tension that exists between local cultural identities and the push for gay rights. Next, we look into Ghana's position on this controversial topic. President Akufo-Addo made a statement that stirred global reactions. He expressed that, in his view, Ghana wasn't inclined toward embracing homosexuality. Trust me, this remark sparked significant discussion both locally and internationally.
Something you said a little earlier on about freedom of expression. So I want to ask you about what is happening in your country and homosexuality, for example, which I believe is illegal and it's punishable. I mean, why is homosexuality still illegal in your country?
The social, cultural issues, if you like. I don't believe that in Ghana so far a sufficiently strong coalition has emerged, which is having that impact on public opinion that will say, change it. Let's then have a new paradigm in Ghana.
Is that something you would get behind?
I think that it is something that is bound to happen. And when that happens...
What's going to provoke it? What's going to make it happen?
Oh, it's the activity, like elsewhere in the world. Like elsewhere in the world, the activities of individuals, of groups. I grew up in England. I went to school as a young boy in England, and I grew up at a time in England when homosexuality was banned there. It was illegal. And I lived a period when British politicians thought it was anathema even to think about changing the law, and then suddenly the activities of individuals, of groups, a certain awareness, a certain development grew and grew and grew stronger, and it forced a change in law. I believe that those are the same processes that will bring about changes in our situation. At the moment, I don't see that in Ghana there is that strong current of opinion that is saying this is something that we need to even deal with.
Here's the thing. This issue of homosexuality in Ghana is about more than just the law. It's about values, religion, and where the country sees itself in relation to the rest of the world. But the question remains, can Ghana's legal and social systems change in the face of evolving global views? Will the activities of individuals and groups, as Akufo-Addo suggests, eventually lead to change? And if so, how long will that take? In an interview, Kenya's President Kenyatta dismissed gay rights as a non-issue for Kenyans. His exact words, "This is not about me, but about the societal and cultural values of the 49 million people I represent." While defending the societal position, Kenyatta insisted that no Kenyan should face abuse or mistreatment based on their sexual orientation, highlighting the balance between societal norms and legal protections.
One of the major issues, and it's a holdover from sort of colonial Victorian, is the issue of sexual preference in many African countries. In Kenya, to be gay, the LGBT community is illegal. They just want to have equal rights, the same privacy and equality as all other Kenyans do. Is that something that you aspire to for your country?
I want to be very clear, Christiana. I will not engage in a subject that is of it is not of any major importance to the people and the Republic of Kenya. This is not an issue, as you would want to put it, of human rights or this. This is an issue of society, of our own base as a culture, as a people, regardless of which community you come from. This is not acceptable. This is not agreeable. This is not about Uhuru Kenyatta saying yes or no. This is an issue that the people of Kenya themselves, who have bestowed upon themselves a constitution, right, after several years, have clearly stated that this is not a subject that they are willing to engage in, yeah, at this time and moment. In years to come, possibly long after I'm president, who knows? Maybe our society will have reached a stage where those are issues that people are willing, freely and open to discuss. I have to be honest with you. And that is the position that we have always maintained. Those are the laws that we have, and those are laws that are 100% supported by 99% of the Kenyan people, irregardless of where they come from. No Kenyan should be abused, should be, mistreated in any particular. Every Kenyan is protected by law, every single Kenyan. But they also must recognize that their freedoms are also must be taken into the entire context of the society that they live in. Because this is not a question of governments accepting or not accepting. This is a question of society.
Kenyatta's refusal to elevate LGBTQ rights to the level of human rights, instead framing the issue as one of society and culture, is a reflection of Kenya's largely conservative values. He argued that this was not a matter of personal opinion, but a reflection of the views held by the majority of Kenyans, a sentiment echoed by many leaders across the continent. In his words, Kenyans will not engage with the issue at this time, stressing that such practices do not align with the cultural fabric of the nation. Down south, President Cyril Ramaphosa praised South Africa for creating an environment conducive for the practice of same-sex marriages and partnerships. It is the only African country that has legalized same-sex marriage. In 1996, South Africa made history as the first country to constitutionally protect LGBTQ rights. Its constitution explicitly prohibited discrimination based on sexual orientation, establishing South Africa as a pioneer in recognizing the rights of LGBTQ people within a legal framework.
In democratic South Africa, neither government, employers, or individuals can discriminate against someone on the basis of their sexual orientation. Same-sex couples can marry, they can adopt children, and inherit from their partners. Kuyenzeka la eSouth Africa. Akwenzeki kwamanye amazwe. In our free society, anyone can approach our courts for recourse for the enforcement of their rights and to challenge any executive decision. If any South African feels that the decision that has been taken by the government, even the president, that South African is able to go to court and challenge that decision. And a number of South Africans often do so and they win. It means that this is a country that is governed by the rule of law, not by the rule of the president or the rule of the government. It is the rule of law.
Despite these legal protections, discrimination and violence against LGBTQ people persists in South Africa, with reports of hate-driven murders. This complex reality shows that while South Africa leads the continent in LGBTQ+ rights, challenges remain in ensuring safety for all.